So a quick video today for those of you that are into R&B and neo-soul guitar and are wondering where to get started to really practice this genre. So obviously I don't know your current level on the guitar, you may be expert, you may be just starting out on the guitar, but I want to give you this advice regardless of your level, which is learn chord progressions. So give yourself one specific goal. My advice would be make sure that you learn one new chord progression in this style every week. Now, if you think about it, this is something that is definitely achievable. You just need to know how to do it, and more importantly, what to exactly learn when you learn a new chord progression. So you can find chord progressions basically anywhere. You can learn them from actual songs, or you can learn them on YouTube. There's plenty of lessons, including on this channel, obviously, about R&B and neo-soul chord progressions. I recently made a lesson with the top 3 chord progressions. Let's check them out. Now, the reason why I made this lesson about these 3 specific chord progressions is because these 3 chord progressions are very common. They're really important to know if you want to play this style. However, you may feel, again, depending on your level, that they are a bit too complicated to get started. Or maybe you can learn the chord positions that you see in these chord progressions, but you may not be that familiar with embellishment or simply understanding the music theory behind it or the technique involved on the right hand to actually play them. Now, one approach is that you watch the lesson several times, you slow it down, and you learn everything from the actual YouTube video. If you want to get deeper, on my Patreon page, as you know, you find the tab, so the full transcription of the chord progression and even the music theory explanation. All of that will cost you £5, so no big deal, I think. But again, you don't have to. So you can learn everything from the actual video without needing the tab or the music theory explanation if you want. And yes, I should also mention that if you want to upgrade, on my Patreon page, you can also find the guitar profile, which means that you can slow it down and listen to it while you learn it. But anyway, as I said, you don't necessarily need it, and I'm absolutely happy for you to simply watch my lessons, including this one that I just mentioned, and learn everything from the actual YouTube video. And to be clear, you don't necessarily have to learn from myself, right? You can learn from many other creators on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever you like. But again, this wants to be a video that explains how to actually practice R&B and neo-soul, right? So let's say that you've got the chord progression that you want to learn for the week, and you possibly have another one lined up for the following week and so on. What you should be doing is definitely saying, look, I need to first learn the chords which are actually involved in this chord progression. Okay, so let's say that we've got there's a short chord progression. Which chords do we have? Oh, we have a G minor 7, D minor 7, E flat major 7, C minor 7. Okay, so that is the first step, getting familiar with the actual chord shapes. Okay, so again, it depends very much on your level. You may already know all of these chords, so as soon as you hear the names, you're fine, you can already play them. Or you may actually struggle with the muscle memory. So what I would suggest is, besides learning the actual chord progression, learn the muscle memory, the actual shapes basically, right? So you start with your G minor 7, you make sure it sounds good, then you move it to your D minor 7, trying to keep your fingers, as close as possible to the fretboard, almost like a slide really. Then same for the E flat major 7, and down to your C minor 7, and you start again. So the first part of the practice should be, let's learn the chord positions. If you think about it, this is kind of like a big deal, because that means if you commit to what I'm suggesting, learning one new chord progression in this style every week, your chord vocabulary will be so much larger in just a few weeks' time, because you go through all of the chords that you typically find in this style, which, as we know, are mostly 7th chords and even extended chords. So yes, minor 7, major 7, but also minor 9, minor 11, alternate dominant 7th, all of that. Okay, so we've got the chord progression, and we have learned the chord positions. What is the next step? Well, the next step is really understanding the timing. So make sure that you learn the actual timing for all of these chords. Okay, so you should know how to count it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so making sure everything sounds good at a slow tempo first, and then you gradually increase the tempo. Okay, so you've got your chord positions, and then you have to know the timing of the chords involved. Then the next step will be mastering the technique involved. Now, are they strummed? Is there a percussion on 2 and 4? Are they maybe played as arpeggios? Okay, so going through plucking techniques or arpeggio techniques, again, depending on the chord progression that you're playing, that will be your very next step. So if you think about it, in that week, you are learning a chord progression, but you are learning so much more. You are learning the chord positions, you're learning the timing, the techniques involved, and then I would suggest look into potential embellishments, right? Because inevitably in this style, when you play these chords, you will play some hammer-ons, you know, some percussions, and this, as I said, is something that you can achieve in 1 week. And if you achieve that, what I would really suggest is getting to the music theory of this chord progression. So once you learn these chords and you learn the chord progression, you've got something that you can finally play, something real. You're not talking about exercises anymore, you're talking about actual music that you can play. Make sure you understand in which key you are and what chord numbers you are actually using, because that means you can replicate that chord progression in any other key. And more importantly, if you go and learn an actual song that uses a similar chord progression, you understand it so much quicker. So yeah, this is how I would recommend you to spend your week learning 1 new chord progression every week. And this is the reason why I've released a new course which is called Your First 5 Neo-Soul Chord Progressions. Now, some of you may know that I already have an R&B and Neo-Soul acoustic guitar course out, and it's a massive course. It's over 40 lessons and over 4 hours of content with all transcriptions and stuff. But I'm actually happy for you to start with something smaller, something where you can measure your progress in a short amount of time. So in this newer course, you will find only 5 chord progressions to get started in this style. Because one of the questions that I get more often on the channel when I make any Neo-Soul lesson is, okay, but how do I get started if I'm a beginner, if I've never played this style before? Okay, maybe you're not a beginner, maybe you already play the guitar, but you simply never played this style before. Well, what you can do is start with these 5 chord progressions because they are thought as 5 levels. Level 1 will obviously be very much beginner friendly. Then as soon as you learn something in level 1, you apply that into level 2, implementing possibly a new chord position, a new technique, and everything is explained in detail with obviously a full transcription. And we do an analysis of all of the techniques involved, the chord positions, and even the music theory. We explain the music theory so that you can use those chord progressions in other keys whenever you like. And again, being a shorter course, it is thought as something that you don't need months to finish, but ideally you should do that in 5 weeks, because you can definitely learn those chord progressions 1 per week. Now, if you can't make it in 5 weeks, there's no problem. You can learn at your own pace. Probably the first level, maybe even the second level, will be very much doable in 1 week, and then going up to level 3, level 4, and even level 5, which is quite advanced, you will need more than 1 week, and there's no problem. You can think about this course as something that you can take for a specific amount of time, let's say between 5 and potential 10 weeks. But at the end of your 5 or 7 or 10 weeks, you've actually learned something real, something that you can play with your friends, by yourself, you can use in your own song. So we're not only discussing, oh, let's learn all of the -7 chords on the guitar, all of the major 7, we are learning actual music. And this is my advice to you. My advice is learn actual chord progressions. Now, whether you do that with my course, or you do that with actual songs, or whether you do that with free YouTube lessons, I'm happy for you to do it anyway, as long as you give yourself a reasonable goal every week, which is 1 new chord progression in the style that you want to master. So by now, you should know how to approach your next few weeks of practice if you want to learn this genre on the acoustic guitar. Learn a new chord progression every week, work on the muscle memory of the chord positions, learn new chord positions, expand your chord vocabulary, work on timing, embellishments, all of the techniques involved, and possibly learn the music theory behind them. If then at the end of your 5, 7, 10 weeks you've learned all of my 5 chord progressions in this new course and you want to go deeper and you're like, I now want to know everything about this style, I want to know all of the potential techniques, I want to know all of the chords needed, all of the embellishments, I want to practice exercises to strengthen my pinky when I do my hammer-on pull-off embellishments, I want to learn the more advanced chord substitutions to understand all of the music theory. Well, you know that there is a full course where where you can do that. It will take you a little bit longer, it goes a little bit deeper, you learn obviously new chord progressions as well. I've called them neo-solitudes in that course. Everything is there for you, okay? So everything is available. The choice is completely up to you. As I said, I'm really happy for you to learn everything of my free YouTube lessons, or maybe go to my Patreon page if you need the transcriptions, but that's it. Only if you want to have a structured course where you know that you can learn this thing in week 1, this thing in week 2, and so on and so forth, you have available your first 5 Neo-Soul chord progressions. Guys, I hope that this lesson helps you. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. It was a way for me to give you instructions on how you can possibly achieve something by yourself in a short amount of time if you know what to learn. That being said, guys, feel free to reach out on Instagram. I'll see you in the next lesson.